And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey everybody, I'm Tom Vasel, and today we're comparing Libertalia with Libertalia Winds of Gallic Rest. Now, Stonemaier Games is reprinted Libertalia. Well, there's a whole thing. They said they weren't reprinting it, and then they announced this and said it wasn't technically a reprint of the game, so therefore that's why they said they weren't reprinting it. Well, history will judge on that matter. In my opinion, this is very clearly a reprint, since they are very clearly the same game with changes. Yes, the changes streamline and make the game better. I love Libertalia. I love the new one. It's a great game. I'll tell you right now, I'm not in the review of this game that's going up this week because I'm doing this comparison video instead, but I'll give you this game an 8.5. I really enjoy Libertalia. The same rating for both. Now, the new one changes the people to animal or humans that have animal faces, I'm not quite sure, changes the art and makes some other changes, adding a solo playthrough to it and a few other things here that I think are substantial changes. But as I said, this is very clearly, I would say this is Libertalia 1.5. If you play this one, you know how to play this one. And if you play this one, you go back to the old one, although you might be disappointed that some stuff is missing. In this video, I'm going to compare them, talking a little bit about component and art differences and gameplay differences. Here we go. Now, when it comes to the decks of cards, the biggest change you'll find is that in the new set, there are 40 cards as opposed to only 30 in the original set. It's a big difference, and it's something that I wanted to see a lot of. Again, here we see the artwork. You'll see some similar symbols. So discard, immediately play a character from your hand and set into space which corresponds to its rank. Discard the scout. Immediately choose another character from your hand and place it on the island according to its rank, shifting other characters as needed. So it's pretty much the same thing. These numbers down here, which are used for tiebreakers, no longer exist in the new version because a new version has a new way of determining who wins ties. But again, as you can see, not everything is going to match here. And I'm not even pretending that these match number for number. But for example, here we have a beggar, here we have a beggar. So there is some similarities in the set. They didn't change everything. Here we have an innkeeper and a recruiter. Number 5 is both the cabin boys. And you'll notice that the art itself is different. Here's a bandit. There's a preacher and a preacher. This preacher happens to be a turtle. Some of the stuff, some of these, like this is an animal, I think, but it looks disturbingly like a human. I don't know that I love the artwork of the new ones. They're a little, some of them look a little less like animals like I'd want them to. And at this point, there we go, the carpenter. Again, there's differences here, like this one, gain 10 doubloons, lose half, rounded down, lose half of them. They're very similar. So you're not going to play this and think, wow, every character is completely different. Here we have a French officer, now they're just an officer. And where's the voodoo witch, which is probably removed from the new one. A freed slave, which is definitely removed from the new one. Smuggler, bodyguard, there's the witch. They're just a witch. The mutineer, 16 and 13. So I'm not going to go through every card, but just enough so you can see the differences between them. The differences are mostly just pictures, but more importantly than the pictures, some of the stuff is cleaned up, and I will say the new cards are much easier to read than the original. Now let's talk about fairly substantial changes. So here we have the original board, which looks like a ship, and I actually really like how this board looks. The new one is fine, but the new one has a reputation track on it. So this is something completely new to this game. The reputation track, each player is going to be placing markers on this track, and these markers are going to change. There are many cards that will change your reputation. These are going to determine how much money you start a round with, which is a big change to the game, and they also break ties. So before, ties were broken by numbers that were on the cards themselves. This is no longer the case. You'll use the reputation track instead. Also, there are spots to put loot here on these days, but what the loot does here is actually printed on the board. And with this new one, that comes with a set of tiles. Now, one side of the tile shows exactly what's written on the board, and I suppose you could give this to another player. In fact, we did that in one game I played. We had the tiles like this on the other side of the board so people could see them. But you can also cover it up here, and things change more. They're a little bit more kind of in your face. You'll see a different side here with the saber. Here we have another saber. So this is, originally it says discard another player's character from the island. This one says discard a character of your choice from an adjacent pirate ship. It's a little bit more deadly. Now, I do think, hang on, let me smell these tiles. Yep, this is expansion smelling, and in the future, they'll have more of these to put out there. But hey, that's not a bad thing. Okay, let's start here with the boxes themselves. We have Libertalia, and this looks like a 2. I don't know if it's supposed to be a subtle nod that this is a second edition of Libertalia, or if it's just a bad L. Anyhow, they have a very different look to them here. This one has very much a Pirates of the Caribbean vibe to it. This one here has a cleaner, almost Ryan Lockett vibe to it with the background. I'm not going to say one art is better than the other. They're just different and give a different feel. I mean, if I'm looking for pirates, this kind of stands out to me more, but this is a nice, clean looking cover. When it comes to comparing tokens, it's not even close. These new ones are so much better. Look how nice they are. They're different colors. They're easy to see. They're double-sided. There's no reason for these really to be one-sided. I don't mind the artwork and stuff on the old ones, but these are really clear. And then when you use that matched with the card that tells you what it does, just a very, very clean system. I really like these tokens. This is, for me, the best change to the new game, other than the fact that there's 40 characters instead of 30. And as I said, there's no more hidden information here. They're public knowledge, which makes the game easier. And the game also comes with this. This is going to keep track of your points or the loot that you score at the end. This is, again, kind of a semantical change from the original one, where you just moved the stuff onto your ship. You had these ships, which I do like these original ships from the original game, giving you, a name of your ship and information on it. But these dials do work very nicely, and so it's easy to see how much score everybody has at any given time. The new version also comes with a really nice insert. Has a little spot here to keep the money, which I can't really show you the money from the original game since I replaced mine with metal coins. But there's a spot here for everything. There's also this tile, which you use in a 2-player game. It kind of, you put this on the board to keep track of, it just adds an extra thing. You don't have to run a bot, just another way to make the 2-player game a little bit more robust. And then the entire game comes with stuff, as all Stegmaier games do, a way to play the game solo. This is something I have not messed with, but I do know that the solo stuff from Stegmaier games usually are very well done. The Automa, there's a whole rule book for it and explains this. This did not exist in the original game. I'll be honest, I don't have any desire to really look at this because I'm pretty happy. This is a great game to play with other people, but if this is something you're looking for, then hooray. So those are pretty much the changes in the game. And if you're not sure what all the changes are in the game, he actually wrote a page back here which tells you all the different changes that are in the game. Clearly, I don't think you need to have both of these, not even close. And I'm going to replace the old one with the new one. I am going to miss this whole Pirates of the Caribbean vibe. I did like that, but there's no question, having 40 characters is 33% better than the other game. There's more differences between that. You're going to pull up different characters more often. I think that's fantastic. It gives more variety. And I fully expect Stonemaier Games to release an expansion adds 10 to 20 more pirates, going up to 50 or 60 as time goes by. You watch. But the animal pirates, meh, I tend to like animal stuff, but I kind of wish they went with animals. But here they went with humans that have animals. I don't know. It's just, I don't care so much about that, but I do like the component. The quality here is fantastic. Those tiles are chunky. The initiative system, the biggest change, I'm kind of neutral on that. I like the new system. It works well. You don't have to look at the numbers on the cards. I thought that the card number thing was a very clean system, but the initiative is just a little bit wonky. Yes, it gives you something else to do. Yes, you move on that initiative track, and if you get all the way to the end, it can give you more coins, or you can lose coins going the other side. And some of the cards, it gives them more variety on things to do, and one of the tiles at least affects initiative. So I think it gives some more interesting options to the game, but it also adds a little bit of fiddliness moving it around. That's very minor. But like I said, it's neutral. I don't dislike it. It's fine. But I also didn't think, wow, this is so much better than the original game. They're kind of the same. The fact that it has a solo thing is certainly going to attract people, and I think that the 2-player also is going to attract people. But Libertalia is one of those games that I'm going to pull out with 5 and 6 because it works in that situation, and very few games do. So those don't interest me as much because of that reason. I have lots of solo and dual games. I don't have many games that handle 5 to 6 well. Anyway, this is a fine replacement of the original one. If you have this one and love it, look at the changes to see if you want to replace it or not. Either way, you have either one of these in your collection, you'll have a great time. I'm Tom Vasel. We'll see you next time.